She's a dark video this morning. Hey guys, figured I'd take you on a little tour of my life. I don't know what you'll actually get to see, but you must, I live in the van and stuff, and you probably think it's pretty crappy. I get to wake up in places like this. Beautiful full moon shining, sun coming up. Stars are all out. The whole world's at peace. It's just kind of mine. Once in a while, somebody will pull in about this time in the morning, but that's fine. I could share with one. Listen to the birds. And I get to play guitar later, and they'll all dance around the van and stuff and sing with me. I'm not good, but they are. And they enjoy it, so that's kind of what matters. It's a little chilly this morning. Oh, yeah, see, there is somebody sharing. I don't know if you can see that truck over there, but there's somebody here. Stars are pretty. You probably can't see those either, not this shitty camera. Yeah. Ooh, nice and warm in here, though. Oh, I got my... Oh, here, let's turn the light on. So with the lights, I got a switch there. And that actually, I don't know if you could have seen it or not, but it's a switch like this one. And then I got like a 10 gauge wire running to the back. And there's more batteries in the back in a sealed box. And then I have the battery under the hood. Just a sec here. So that I can kill this one battery with the light, and I still have the other two to make sure I can start the truck later on. You notice that I normally have all the curtains up and stuff, so I can get dressed or whatever. Anyway, good morning. That was chilly. Oh, tour around. There's my heat. So it's nice and toasty in here with that great big rock. I can sit on that rock and it's wonderful. Wow. Gets to be too much, but gets to be a little bit much, but it's really nice. When I have that house coat on, I can sit on it for like a minute or so, and then everything gets too hot, and then I'll come over here and sit in the chair, and it'll heat the chair up, sucking all the heat out of my house coat and stuff. Burns my legs, but it whatever, feels great in the morning, and it's better than trying to let this chair suck the heat out of me to make itself warm. I'd rather do that 2 or 3 times, and then the seat's warm, and then I can sit here and chill. So the collapse is coming of some sort. We'll see. With the petrodollar, this is pretty major, really. The States is going to be more vulnerable than it's ever been in history. And super weak leader. Oh, there goes the... Oh, I thought it was an ambulance. Yeah, a super weak leader. Just it's a bad combination. So living in the van might be more necessary for all of you as well, really soon, as your mortgages need to be remortgaged and refinanced and broken up, and then a lot of people are going to be more mortgage than house, so the house isn't going to be worth the mortgage, and they're going to walk and they'll go bankrupt. And really, that's what they want. If you look at what's going on with the housing market, these big conglomerate companies have been buying up all the buildings and all the houses and all the shit and renting them out, and they're going to make a permanent renting class. Nobody's going to own a house. That's the goal, right? So if they can, all the people that were ready and that were good enough to buy a house now, before, they all just bought, or they're all on this teetering point now, and they're going to pull the rug out from underneath them. And that will level the classes. There won't be an upper, this middle shit. There'll be the upper class and everybody else. And so I'll actually be more well off than the people who right now are living in their big houses and stuff. Especially the ones that have the big house with the boat and the jet ski and the 2 cars and all that garage full of junk that they never touch, but it's all really cool toys and stuff like that. Well, you're so high up, you're going to fall down like that. You're going to hit so hard and not know what you're doing. And the big thing, like, not only do you not own your house, you don't own your cars. So when they take your house and your cars, you own the tent and all the junk. Maybe the junk that's shitty, but like the jet ski, the boat, that's all repossessed. And if it's happening to you and your neighbor and your mom and your dad and your uncle and your aunt, you can't hide it in anybody's name. There's nobody to hide shit with, because everybody's fucked up. And we're all going to drop, so that there's only 2 classes. Once you're a 2-class system, then then we're fucked. But they'll be fucked if we could organize, right? If we could all just say, screw you for a few years or whatever. But that's not what we'll do. 90% of the people will go and bow, which brings me to my real point of this video, which is like transgenderism. Been thinking about it a lot. My niece, who I love with all my heart, she's beautiful. Inside and out, she's just this wonderful soul. Young, impressionable, and thinks she's a boy. And really, if it's a thing where you're just trying something out and trying out an identity, I get that. I tried out a lot of identities, but here's the thing about it: if anybody on this fucking earth can understand a trans person, it would be me. Okay, I am very different than a man, right? I'm not a man's man or whatever. I'm not even close. Never fucking fit in. When I went to parties and stuff, I would sit with the wives and sit and chat with all of them and hang out with them, and would conversate better with them. And I'd go hang out with the guys and shit too, but not more than any of the other wives, or not much more, just only like maybe at a campfire or something like that, than you're up and doing rowdy shit, and then, you know what I mean, then it's fun to hang out with the dudes, but only if crazy shit's going on. But if we're sitting and just chatting, not into those conversations that the guys are having most of the time. I'd rather go and sit and have a more intelligent conversation with the ladies. Growing up, had a bunch of sisters and 2 moms, so it was all girls and me. My dad was around, but he wasn't. He was quite absent. He taught me about morals and standards, because when I was young, all the sisters used to pick on me. And then I started getting a little bigger, and I started to defend myself, and I'd lose it, right? Because I'd hold it in for a while and let them all pick, and then I'd lose it at them, and they'd run right straight to Dad, and then I'd get in trouble. And Dad was a scary dude, and like he was he was like he was a lot of things. But he was also not a criminal, but he was a scary dude. Anyway, you listened to him when he spoke, when he laid down the law about something, and what he laid down the law to me about was not hitting girls, and knowing that I'm a boy, I'm in a boy body, so it's different than their bodies. And then he taught me about morals. And he said, you have to have principles, morals, standards. Those were the words that he taught me. And he taught me that you can't, those are the only things that you're going to maintain forever. And he said, I was the first coke dealer in New Brunswick or whatever for a while. And I was the fucking over $1 million worth of fucking buildings in his name for a while. And he was like the big slumlord guy, and he had to go and collect rent and fight guys with baseball bats and all this shit. Not that he had the bat. The guys would come out the door with swinging weapons and shit at him to not pay their rent. And him and his brother would have to, you know, plan this shit out and fucking fight these guys. Anyways, and then he was a big grower for a while. I've seen him fucking shoot at thieves and shit like that. Fucking the shit that this man did and done, and he was up and he was down, and he said, you know, I've been worth over $1 million, and I've been worth fucking $20. And so you never know one day to the next money and your stance and your where your status is going to be in life. But your morals, your standards, your principles, those things define you, and you got to take them with you forever. You're never ever going to not have those. And if you abandon those for whatever reason, not that you can't go back to them, but really, when you lose the money, if you abandon those for money, when you lose the money, you don't have anything now. You're nothing, right? And chances are you're not going to have like friends and shit either, because you've turned your back on so much. So you can't ever, your morals, your standards, who you are as a man, that defines you, right? And those were the things that boys with fathers should be taught and were taught, most of us. I know in our generation, in my 40s. And like, you know, our dads were hippies, and they were fucking druggies, and they were fucking criminals or slumlords or not. Like, he didn't fit into any of those jobs. He had to keep switching. And he actually fit better into a heavy equipment operator and a carpenter and fucking shit like that. And he said that you had to put as much effort into crime as you did to a legal business, and you got more out of the legal business in the end. And everything's legal, so you don't have all that worry of the cops and the thieves and all that shit. The cops are actually your friend now, and they, you know, they're going to help you with the thieves instead of you having to deal with them yourself and all this other shit. And he said, it's just simpler to be legit than it is, and more money in it and all that stuff, and more equitable. Not the way that you guys use that word, to have your fucking shit over there. I lost my train of thought. Anyhow, other than that, the old man wasn't around. He was always trying to be a millionaire. And he that was his only goal in life. He always wanted to, not to just be worth $1 million in equity and shit. He wanted to have that $1 million in the bank, sitting and just go travel the world and live the life, right? And that was his big goal. And actually, him and Mom had my sister, who's more of a boy than I am. But when I get down to it here in a minute. Anyways, and she was planned, right? And Dad fucking... And then Mom wanted to have another kid, and Dad was like, no, not right now. We can't. It's not in the plan because this, and those things need to happen in this order, and then I'll be my millionaire, and then this, and then we'll have the second kid kind of thing. And anyway, she started stopped taking birth control and poking holes in condoms and doing all kinds of shit and got herself pregnant. And he never forgot that until I was like in my fucking older years. He, not that he like pointed it out to me or anything like that. I didn't know until my mom told me when they got a divorce. But when looking back, I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like, that's why he wasn't there, and he was always pissed off and all that shit, and working so hard to be the millionaire, but always angry about it, and when it didn't work out and stuff like that, and pissed off when I asked for time out of the money. Time, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't want to concede that time, but he would concede it to Shelly or whatever, to my sister. But that switched later on in life because I conceded my time to him. Anyway, so growing up, she got tougher than I did. She beat me up all the time, and I couldn't do anything about it. So I was taught to just take abuse. And then when real abuse started, when I was just hitting my teens, and there was guys like groping my sister and shit like that, and if I tried to stand up for her, I'd get beat up again, and I was just used to getting beat up all the time, so I submitted, right? That was my normal thing. And then I started emulating these fucking guys, trying to find my identity, because I didn't know who the fuck I was. Anyway, because I was a teenager going through that thing where you're trying to find out who the fuck you are. And then I was different. Everybody fucking kept saying I was different, because they even called me gay for a while. They were like, oh, you're gonna... And I kept hearing it in the whispers. Oh, he's gonna be gay, he's gonna be gay, he's gonna be gay, right? And it's like, no, I'm not gay. I love girls, but I'm not that boy. Do you know what I mean? Like, just different shit. And anyway, the sports and stuff, never really... Still, I don't give a fuck about sports. All that shit. Fucking... all that so-called manly stuff. I'm just not into it. And then... there's other examples. But anyway, I was kind of expected to be that tough guy because I was Dad's son, right? So even though he wasn't around that expectation was on me, especially from his buddies who were around. And I tried, but I could never fucking live up to it or whatever. So anyway, she would get into fistfights more than I would. Right? I got into a couple, but I never really was able to punch somebody until I was like fucking 30 or something like that. And it was only because Buddy raped his own fucking kids and got them to have sex with each other and shit while he whatever. I don't know if he watched, but whatever. Fucking sick, fucked up dude. And this was one of the dudes who fucked with my moms and fucked with my sisters as well, like as a kid. So it just kept coming up in my life. And eventually I just fucking snapped and punched the shit out of him. Anyway. So these trans people, when I think back, if somebody had started grooming me back then, that I was a chick, and that's why I hung out with the chicks and talked like with the chicks and was more interested in chick things and fucking when I started having girlfriends, I could argue so well that I would win the fights, and then I would stay on top of them because I knew how to fight with girls. And so mentally, not physically, right? Because I wasn't allowed to fight with them physically. So I would fucking dominate these girls in arguments, and then they would try to track off into other subjects or other things, bring up the past, shit like that, and I could fucking rein it back in and keep them on track, stay calm, and go out right through the argument with them in order to get to the end of it and fucking win. And girlfriends don't like that shit. I had to learn that what I had to do was pick my fucking battles. But then that didn't work out either, because then it ended up being, when I did finally fucking pick up the right like a few of the bigger battles, we weren't compatible. Because I was letting all this little fucking shit go, thinking, well, who cares? Right? Like, it's fucking day-to-day shit, and this is how she wants to do it, and she thinks it seems to be going well. Whatever, I don't care. Fucking drinking party, yeehaw, life's gonna go on. She's doing things that are fairly responsible. And anyway, so like all that kind of shit, like I just gave her the bank cards and shit like that, you know, so that she could just do all the bills and the groceries and the fucking finances or whatever, and car payments and all that shit. And right, and we just worked out a budget so that it all worked. Anyway, fucking. But by the time it come to like shit over my kid and actual big things in our lives, it turned out that we were really different. And neither of us really knew, because I was like just kind of not pretending, but not. And I guess I was showing who I was, but anyways, whatever. Turned out that we couldn't fucking cohabitate. Anyway. And then like a chick, I went a whole year without sex or masturbating. I've gone years at a time, 7 is the longest, refusing sex, blowjobs, all that kind of shit. No, I don't. You're not my wife. You're not my girlfriend. I'm like that right now. You know, if you're not, I've made a mistake once in the last 8 years, but other than that, no. If you're not my fucking my wife or my fucking girlfriend, my soul doesn't fucking love you. And I don't want to have a soul tie with you. A physical encounter. Now, of course, I want to all the goddamn time. It's all I think about half the time, right? Whatever. But my logical mind knows better. So now I just don't even date at this point, because I know that finding someone to date me that thinks like I do and wants to have the conversations that I do and is living on the same frequency and plane as I am, it's like a fucking needle in a haystack. And I would fucking devote myself to her. Because that's the other thing. If I have sex with somebody or whatever, I have a natural tendency to fall in love with them. That's what my buddies always said. Oh, you fall in love with everybody that you have sex with. You gotta fucking stop, be a man, blah, 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 right? And that's the other thing about these girls that say that they're men. You don't fucking understand what it is to be a man. You've never lived under the threat of violence and shit like that, and had to repress all your fucking emotions and all that other shit, and live and act and think a certain fucking way in order to fit in. Like, and when you don't, like once I finally started to realize that none of these dudes know themselves. That's the other. All these tough guys and all these big guys and all this shit, none of them know anything about themselves. They're all just trying to do their best, getting through fucking life and trying to understand and all that shit. And most of them have given up on understanding, a lot of them, right? And they just fucking want to act right. Anyway, once I realized that, I just said, fuck it, I'm not pretending to be anybody. I'm going to try to be as open with myself emotionally and mentally as I can be. And then that was shit, I don't know, throughout my 20s and 30s, somewhere's in there. I don't really know. I started having these, I started noticing it in everybody, the most confident seeming dudes and stuff like that. And then when somebody else came into the room, oh wow, that's pretty, they'd be like little fucking schoolgirls or whatever, and change who they are and the way they act and the way they talk, and just depending on, and it's like, okay, no, you're not being true to yourself. You don't know who you are. You're just trying to fit in and shit like that and fucking whatever. So I just said, fuck it. I don't care how weird I am. I'm just going to stay weird. And really, throughout my teenage years, I was fucking realizing this. But then throughout my 20s, I started to see that it was everybody. It was everywhere. Throughout my teen years, I was trying to find myself bad, and I was always getting razzed, like I said, all by my buddies and shit, that I was too soft, and I thought too deep, and then I was fucking falling in love with all these girls, and blah, blah, they're all just this and that, and they'd talk about girls certain ways and stuff that I couldn't, right? And I don't know if that's feminine, if it's just respectful to myself and to them. But in our society, we're said, oh, no, it's feminine. You're a fucking faggot or whatever. Back then. Now, or you're fucking trans. But I knew I wasn't a faggot. I knew I wasn't attracted to dudes. That wasn't the case. So that's not a fear or whatever. You know what I mean? But if somebody had said, oh, well, no, you're not, but you're a dyke, and then started rolling that into my thoughts, I could see how I would assimilate to that eventually. Especially, if all my friends and family would affirm it for me, and everybody was like, yeah, sure, no, you're a fucking girl, and you're just a lesbian girl, and that's you want boobs here and you want boobs here too, like you just love boobs and stuff, not so much. And then and this is something you guys should all try, straight guys. It's gonna sound weird, but it works. I watched a Kevin Costner movie, dating myself, right? And he was the baseball player, and he was with that prostitute girl or whatever she was, but she was like the ball team slut. She slept with all the ball team guys over the years or whatever. She lived near the ballpark and slept with the head players of the team. Anyway, so he was banging her, and he's screwing up with his pitching when he's under pressure and shit, and he was thinking about it too much and all this shit, and they're trying to work through it, and she says, well, wear my underwear tomorrow. And so he wears her fucking little silky fucking panties to work, and wears them on the ballpark. And it distracted him and shit like that all day, so he was able to fucking pitch better. So anyways, me and the girlfriend at the time, and then when he got home that night, he was able to bang better too. So the girlfriend and I were like, okay, well, let's try it, right? And so I wore her panties at school, and I walking hard on back then, anyways. But it made me even more of a walking hard on all day long because you're got these silky panties on, touching all your junk or whatever all day, and you're thinking about it and thinking about her, and you run into her a couple times and stuff like that. By the time you get home and actually start banging, it's like you've been foreplaying all day long. It is your load, you know, you could fucking ding off a fucking frying pan or whatever when it shoots out of there, and the shit you do to her, you go right crazy, fucking banging her and stuff, because you've been building all these thoughts up all day in your head, and you're just like, I'm gonna get you, girl, and yeah. And so, anyways, try it out. But that shit just works. And I'm telling you, like, as a straight dude, try it. Try it. It works. And you might have to ruin your wife's panties stretching them all out. But whatever. Anyhow. All this to say that I understand that better than most. Like, way, way better than most. So, therefore, I understand the manipulation behind it. And I understand how it isn't fucking real. It's a delusion. It's just, something we're all kind of susceptible to because it's hard to identify yourself, especially at certain ages, but all through life. And your identity isn't aligned in your sex like that. So when you say that you're something you're not based on your behavior traits, you're just denying parts of yourself. Don't you see how it's like a blind label, right? So you're no matter what, I could fucking do surgeries on my body for the rest of time. There's only one possible way for me to have a fucking sex change, and it still wouldn't work. But as if I was to fucking clone myself and then take the fucking male shit out and put female shit in right away, genetically fucking make sure that the clone me was a fucking born a woman, and then raise that clone to a certain age, cut its fucking head open, take out its brain and throw it in the garbage, pull my brain out, put it in that head, sew it all back up, and hope that it takes, and then hope that my brain is my soul, and that everything I am is in there, because it ain't. You're everywhere. But see, and the problem with that is my brain produces hormones and tells my body what hormones to produce and all that kind of shit. And there's a major communication between the brain and the body. And my male brain would be telling that female body to do things that it can't fucking do. Like produce testosterone. And then when the fucking estrogen and all that shit got into my male brain, it would fuck it all up. Give me a chemical imbalance in my head, which makes people fucking go crazy. We used to treat that shit. One of the fucking abusers that we grew up with had a major chemical imbalance. And he would fucking stop taking his meds all the time and like go right off and get guns and fucking take people hostage and fucking do all kinds of crazy, weird fucking shit, right? And of course, he would get illegal guns. We're in Canada. You didn't. Douchebags. Your gun control. Criminal reform. Something, something. Life reform. Anyhow, so it's easy to manipulate somebody like that. It would have been easy to manipulate me. Right? It's only now, because I've got all this education and knowledge and life experience and fucking, and I've really watched the world around me and watched people and fucking their traits and how they work and what they do and how they act and who they are and who I am and all that kind of shit to try to learn to who I am today. But there's nothing I can do to change my physical. I got to accept it mentally that this is who I am. Right? I could take steroids and maybe put weight on or diet pills and lose weight or whatever. But like better off to just say, okay, no, I am me. I'm fucking 6 feet and I, you know, I'm 150 pounds or 160 pounds at best. And I'm a dude, you know, and I got a normal penis that's just normal length. It's nothing beautiful, but it's not a shame. And whatever. And this is what I look like. This is my face. This is what I have to deal with. These are the cards I was dealt. And I'm best to accept that all, every bit of it, and try to make the best of it than to deny it and try to physically change things that I cannot physically change. Like beating up that guy who molested his kids. I could beat him forever, but it's never going to make his kids not molested. Right? It's never going to change reality because it's fucking reality. That's the way it is. That's the way it was. That's how it is. There's nothing else I can fucking do about this. You know, I could try to separate him from those kids, but other than that, you know, beating him to death isn't going to go back in time and stop him from doing what he did. Wow, that's pretty. You guys want to see? You might be able to. I don't know how much color you're getting, but it's nice. It's nice. It's a very nice. So, anyhow. I can't imagine how fucking unhappy I would be right now if somebody had done that shit to me then and made me into something that I'm not, and then but took away everything that I was or am. It would prevent you from ever trying to be whole. Once once you mutilated yourself, you know what I mean? Now you got to try to become whole with this whole new body that doesn't operate properly, where it's not a man or a woman. It doesn't matter where you started or where you were going. You're not going to be either in the end. You're going to be somewhere in the middle with nothing. Of if you go into the surgeries and stuff, then you end up somewhere in the middle. Best case scenario, you can achieve an orgasm. And that's really slim. But you're not making babies. You're not a parent, and you can't. That's gone. You're not. That's the only thing that's gone. Now you're unable to procreate, but chances are you're also unable to relieve yourself in any way, or anybody else relieve you for that matter. You become, well, damaged. Your nerve endings get damaged, and then the whole reason that you can be sexually stimulated is because there's such a tremendous amount of nerve endings in that part of the human body. And so if they start fucking with it and they break and ruin a bunch of the nerve endings, there's not enough there to ever give you the full achievement, arousal, and full completion. So now you've also lost that. And you're not a girl, and you're not a boy, and you can't have babies or make babies, and you can't orgasm or have, well, a lot of them can't have sex. You know, where the penis thing malfunctions permanently, or what would it be called? The wound from where the penis was heals, right? Because that's what you're doing, is you're trying to keep an open wound. It's no different than, like, you could cut a hole in your leg the size of a penis, lube it up and keep it stretched out and make sure that the hole stays there, and then have sex with it. Just the same thing. No difference. And that's why you lose all the nerve endings, because the body heals. It's a wound now. It's not a fucking part anymore. I don't know. Will it matter when the fucking American dollars collapse next week or whatever? You're the president of Africa. He's like, get rid of all your American money. Won't be worth anything in 2 weeks. That's scary. Now, a friend of mine asked me yesterday, what's that mean for Canada? Right? So, okay, the American dollar used to be based on gold. Then they sold all the gold, presumably, most of it, and they based the dollar from, because it's traded in oil. So because of that, it's being spread and spent all over the world, and then coming back to America after basically being laundered through other countries, and it goes through their economy to gain wealth when it comes back to America. So that amount of your dollar being in other countries on their economy, on their resources, makes your money worth something. When they stop using your money and there's no gold to back it up, and Joe Biden just used up all the oil reserves that were out of the ground, you really don't have anything. You got the oil that's in the ground, you got some forest and trees and stuff like that, for sure, you got land. But even that's misrepresented. South America is bigger than North America, right? On our maps, it's and on the globes and stuff like that, it's not slightly misrepresented. It is vastly misrepresented, the size of North America compared to South America and Africa and Asia and all that stuff. Canada, even Canada's part of North America, but even that thing where, you know, what the size of the United States is when you actually find out and compare it to the other countries, it's nowhere near the size that it's shown on the globe. So you think you have more than you have. It's the same dangerous thinking you have more than you have, that the thinking you're smarter than you truly are. Like these people that went through our education system, say they went all the way to university levels, and they learned all that stuff, which is good. There's a lot of good stuff to learn there. But they never question any of it. They're taught that it's proven when it isn't, when it's just a theory. And they think that they know everything without ever, and won't, and then deny listening to the other side. Like, because I thought I knew everything coming out of high school and watching all the National Geographics. I watched those fucking things till the cows came home and knew all about the world and blah, blah, all the shit and all the information, and it was current and I knew everything. But when presented with the other information, I didn't close my mind to it or laugh at it or whatever. I watched it open-mindedly, maybe arrogantly, thinking that I could prove it wrong, but certainly wasn't going to run away. Yeah. Anyway, I should let you go, I suppose. Wonder what I'm going to title this. Title. Well, trans shit. Trans shit. Am I a trans? That's what I'll fucking title it. Because it seems to me like I've presented enough evidence to the female side that I could easily say that I'm a fucking girl. according to their definition of a woman. It's so loose, right? I could say that without any fucking evidence. But I can present all this fucking personality traits, like they're male and female, or masculine and feminine, which they're not. They're human. They're just personality traits. They're just human. Now, dudes are told to repress their shit. Chicks are told to overly express their shit. But we all have the same fucking emotions. We all get sad, we all get horny, we all get mad, we all get jealous, whatever. There's no only girl emotion or only boy emotion or only girl feeling, like only girls like flowers. No, dudes looking like flowers. You know what I mean? Weird if they're gonna fucking obsess over getting some cut down and putting them in the vase in their house or whatever. But I like buying them for girls. Right? So I like to watch them enjoy them. And I do like the sight of them in the house. I notice that they brighten up the room, especially like in the winter, and you get something with some nice colors. That so when you come in, you get to see color, like real natural color. That's good for your brain. It's not just male or female. That's fucking human. That's nature. Like nature, there's nothing better for you than nature, no matter what sex you are. So being attracted to that, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing female about that or male about that. It's just human, right? And now we're told, oh, that's feminine, and men don't do that, and don't you do that, or you're a girl. What? I'm not. Fucking girl. I'm a person, and I think those flowers are pretty. Go fuck yourself. How about that? Why the fuck can't I shut up? Anyway. Try to end this conversation once more. On that note of what do you think? Am I a chick? I have emotional outbursts as well. So there you go. Yeah, you're fucking right. I'm as much trans woman as Bruce fucking Jenner himself. Or Caitlyn, whatever you want to call it. In my soul. Obviously. Physically, he's more towards a woman. But he's not a woman. And he's not a man. I believe we called them eunuchs in the past. They were usually dudes who were castrated and then made to look after the women or whatever. You could be around the queen and shit like that, but you had to have your cock cut off and your balls, or at least your balls. And so that's the definition. Sorry, Caitlyn. That sucks. It really does. I'm sad that you were fooled like that. And I hope that you're happy with the decisions that you made. And that's great if you are. Perfectly fine with that. But don't tell me you're a woman. That's all. Right? So best case scenario, the part works to the best of its ability, and you're as happy as you fucking can be, happy as a clam, and your snapper fucking snaps and you orgasm and all that stuff. They didn't fuck up all the nerve endings and everything's great, and you got a little vacuum to clean it and all that. And so you're still not a girl. You still get cancer from estrogen. You still have a prostate. You still have different bone density, different muscle tension, different. Your joints are all stronger and different. Fucking, your skeletal structure is different. You especially with the hips and stuff like that, where women's hips can actually fucking separate and move back and forth and do miracle fucking things that men's just cannot do. We can't have babies. Um. So like I said, short of cloning and switching your fucking brain and heart and organs into and you're still not going to be, because all your organs and your heart and your brain and everything, all that shit's male, in that certain chemicals affect it certain ways, like estrogen and fucking testosterone and all those kind of things are going to affect male tissues differently than they affect female tissues. So you're different right down to every fucking aspect. And like I said about switching the brain over into the clone, even if it's just the brain, chances are there's 40,000 brain cells in your heart. So you're definitely losing something. 100% you're losing something. But all that memory that your heart did. Now, that could be a good thing, because my heart's been broken so many times that it fucking kills me. It tortures me. But I wouldn't give it away. It's still mine. I love it. Um, and I love all the experience that we've been through. And I love that all that wisdom that it carries. It tells me when I'm in good, bad, ugly situations. It tells me when my family's in bad situations, and my friends and my loved ones. Right? It helps me guide all of my decisions, because Jesus Christ sits at the throne of it, and he's the top of all of my decisions. Right? And then all my relationships. And because he's at the top of all of those decisions, he's in mind for them. I know they're going to be the best decisions for not just me, but for everybody that I care about. Because who's going to decide better than Jesus? Nobody. Nobody loves you more than Jesus. Nobody looks at you the same way that Jesus looks at you. Nobody sees you and knows all your sin and all your dirty little secrets and every fucking thing about you, even all the things that you yourself hate, and can look past all that and see the bright little fucking soul that's in there, and know how bright it can be, and know who it is and what it is, and how much effort and love that he put into it, and what that soul is capable of. You just accept it and love it yourself. Anyway, and he loves you even with all that. All that baggage, and you're gonna fucking have 3/4 of this earth is just gonna fucking walk away with that knowledge. Not even properly process it, yet alone take the time to appreciate it. Man, just going on and on today. I hope you guys enjoy some of the things that I talk about. Maybe learn something. If nothing else, learn to argue with people better. And like I said, when they try to change the argument or make you angry or whatever, being calm in any situation is a superpower. If you can remain calm and keep your head about you, it's fucking hard, and nobody can do it all the time. But in an argument, in a heated conversation, maintain focus and a calm demeanor, even if your voice has to get raised a little in order to be heard. Don't raise your body language, and it's a superpower. It really is. Like, you can, so many situations, you can just walk right through them. And it's like Jesus walking through the storm on top of the water. It doesn't matter the situation. If you can just stay calm, that's what the lesson was there. Just maintain yourself, stay calm, and just walk. Don't focus on all that. Don't focus on all that. Don't pay attention to that stuff. Look at your goal. Look to your God. And if you can focus on them and walk towards them through all the storms, then he'll move in the right ways for you to make all the right turns and make all the right decisions to just keep going. And to you, you're just going forward because you're just looking at God. You're focused on him and just walking. And he moves over there a ways and you just keep walking. And he moves over here a ways and you just keep going. And it's 40 years in the desert. Sure it is. But when you've walked through all that, and of course you can take the time to just look at the storm and go, wow, look at me go, and then focus back up and keep going. You can be aware of it, that it is there. Calm. Focused. Maybe that's what I'll call this video. Calm and focused on Christ. So when you stay that course and that calm and that calm, eventually you're going to get to the end of these storms, right? Every hurricane has another side. There's an eye, and then you go through the rest, and then there's the other side, and then there's the calm, right? And maybe your whole life is going to be a hurricane, and little breaks maybe here and there, but then really just it's hard, right? You're never going to be on some easy path or whatever. That just your calm is coming. Just stay the course. Your calm's going to be great. It's going to blow everybody else's out of the water. But it's a trial, so just do it. I got faith in you. I know Jesus sees what in you, something that I can't. And but knowing that's there, and that he brought you to this video, and if you made it this far, I got more faith in you than anything. You can change the whole world. The whole world. You just gotta Stay on focus. He'll make the turns. Right? That's my big problem. I'm always trying to look for the turns. I want to make them. It's not that way. I got to look at him. And when he moves, that's when I turn. Anyway, it is hard to do. No doubt. Sure. I don't know all of it. I don't know how to stay focused on him all the time. But I do the best I can. How about that? And then ask him for the things. Saying it out loud, saying your spells is important. That's why you pray. Part of it, anyways. You know, you're communicating with the Holy Spirit and all that in the universe, but you're putting that energy out in the frequency of the earth. And when you say, I'm going to be rich and I'm going to own this farm and I'm going to have all this shit looked after, and this is the way it's going to be, right? I'm going to be the lender and not the borrower, above, never beneath, the head only and not the tail. Right? When you say these things out loud, you're putting that frequency out. It's like I was saying before about the ideas. When you say your idea, it gets made, because like a spider web going through people's minds and the energy of the earth, just the energy spreads like that. So everybody can get that, has the opportunity to catch that spider web of thought as it goes through their mind. It's the vibration on the spider web. That's how spiders catch the fly. The fly hits the web. The spider can't see, but he feels the web vibrating, and he goes right to the fly because he can feel those vibrations. Well, that's how spells work. When you say those spells out to the world, then those vibrations are on the spider web of thought, on the frequency level of the thought of man. And our frequency's all messed up, so it's hard for us to catch it. It's still there. They can't break it. Right? What did they call it? String theory. And they had there's a whole thing about string theory. And that's what it is. But that's what it truly is. It's not string theory. It's frequency. And just the plane that we live on. Right? They just misunderstand it, because it's been explained to all of us improperly. So we think we understand it, but we actually don't, which makes us dangerous, because you think you're smarter than you are. You think you have all this knowledge and you don't. So that makes you very dangerous. Anyway, finally going to shut up. I'm going to shut up this time. All right, guys. God bless. Have a great day. Happy Passover. Did you know that the Passover and the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ line up perfectly? And when you know the ritual of the Passover and how it all goes, and the days before, and what you're supposed to do with your lamb, and all that kind of stuff, bringing it into your house and spoiling it and looking after it and loving that lamb, and then it being killed for your supper, but it's tearing a part of your family because it's became a part of your heart now, and you love this thing, little baby lamb, lives lammy lamb in the house with the kids and stuff. So that's the awesome significance of what we call Easter, which is Ishtar, which is a satanic fucking thing. I forget all the ritual and shit behind it, but Easter is actually pagan. But but it lines up. It's supposed to be for the Passover for the Jewish, and it's also the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ for us. So, God bless. Happy Passover. I hope you burn some incense to God. Hallelujah.